fellow Nigerians, I feel greatly disturbed at the tone we have come to regarding the political crisis in Rivers State. Like many of you, I have watched with concern the development with hope that the parties involved will allow good sense to prevail at the soonest. But all that hope borne out without any solution to the crisis. With the crisis persisting, there's no way democratic governance, which we all fought and worked for over the years, can thrive in a way that will redound to the benefit of the good people of the state. The state has been at a standstill since the crisis started, with the good people of the state not being able to have access to the dividend of democracy. Also, it is public knowledge that the governor of Rivers State, for unjustifiable reasons, demolished the House of Assembly of the state as far back as 13th December 2023, and as up to now, 14 months after, now rebuilt the same. I have made personal interventions between the contending parties for a peaceful resolution of this crisis, but my efforts have been largely ignored by the parties to the crisis. I'm also aware that many well-meaning Nigerians, leaders of thought, and patriotic groups have also intervened at various times with the best of intentions to resolve the matter, but all their efforts were also to no avail. Still, I thank them. On February 28, 2025, the Supreme Court, in a judgment in respect all about 8 consolidated appeals concerning the political crisis in Rivers State, based on several grave unconstitutional acts and disregard of the rule of law that has been committed by the governor of Rivers State, as shown by the evidence before it, pronounced in very clear terms. And I quote, "A government cannot be said to exist without one of the 3 arms that make up of the government of a state under the 1999 Constitution as amended. In this case, the head of the executive arm of the government has chosen to collapse the legislature to enable him to govern without the legislature as a despot. As it is, there is no government in Rivers State," and I quote. The above pronouncement came after a catalogue of judicial findings of constitutional breaches against Governor Siminalayi Fubara. Going forward in their judgment, and having found and held that 27 members of the House who had allegedly deflected, and I quote, "are still valid members of Rivers State House of Assembly and cannot be prevented from participating in proceedings of that House by the 8th respondent, that is the governor, in cohort with 4 members," and unquote. The Supreme Court then made some orders to restore the state to immediate constitutional democracy. These orders include the immediate passing of an appropriation bill by the Rivers State House of Assembly, which up to now has not been facilitated. Some militants had threatened fire and brimstone against their perceived enemies of the governor, who has up to now not disowned them. Apart from that, both the House and the governor have not been able to work together. Both of them do not realize that they are in office to work together for the peace and good governance of the state. The latest security report made available to me show that between yesterday and today, there have been disturbing incidents of vandalization of pipelines by some militants without governor taking any action to curtail them. I have, of course, given stand order to the security agencies to ensure safety of lives of good people of Rivers State and the oil pipelines. With all this and many more, no good and responsible president will stand by and allow the grave situation to continue without taking remedial steps prescribed by the Constitution to address the situation in the state, which no doubt requires extraordinary measures to restore good governance, peace, order, and security. In these circumstances, having soberly reflected on and evaluated the political situation in Rivers State, and the governor and deputy governor of Rivers State, having failed to make a request to me as president to issue this proclamation as required by Section 305, Paragraph 5 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, it has become inevitably compelling for me to invoke the provision of the Section 305 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, to declare a state of emergency in Rivers State with effect from today, 18th March, year 2025, and I so do. By this declaration, the governor of Rivers State, Mr. Similaye Fubara, his deputy, Mrs. Ngozi Odu, and all elected members of the House of Assembly State are hereby suspended for an initial period of 6 months. In the meantime, I hereby nominate Vice Admiral Eboket Ibas, retired, as administrator to take charge of the affairs of the state in the interest of the good people of Rivers State. For the avoidance of doubt, this declaration does not affect the judicial arm of Rivers State, which shall continue to function in accordance with their constitutional mandate. The administrator will not make any new laws. He will, however, be free to formulate regulations and may be found necessary to do his job, but such regulations will need to be considered and approved by the Federal Executive Council and promoted by the President for the state. This declaration has been published in the Federal Gazette, a copy of which has been forwarded to the National Assembly in accordance with the Constitution. It is my fervent hope that this inevitable intervention will help to restore peace and order in Rivers State by awakening all the contenders to the constitutional imperatives, binding on all political players in the Rivers State in particular and Nigeria as a whole. Long live a united, peaceful, secured, and democratic Rivers State in particular, and the Federal Republic of Nigeria as a whole. God bless you all for listening. Thank you.
And God will bless you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. To that one person that is watching, and you are the doctor. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tinubu's Nigeria.
This evening, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has passed a state of emergency on Rivers State. The state of emergency orders the suspension of the governor of Rivers State, Similaye Fubara, the National Assembly, and then appointed a former naval officer, a vice admiral, a retired vice admiral, to be a sole administrator to govern Rivers State. Remember that there has been a crisis between the governor of Rivers State and his predecessor, Nyesom Wike, about the control of the politics and the structures and the governance system of Rivers State. It has passed through different legal challenges, breaking laws from both the two sides, and a lot of confusion, where you now have the state high court giving contrary judgments with the federal high court, and now we now have a Supreme Court judgment coming to override all the judgment, and a lot of back and forth, right? So the president have constitutional powers to grant a state of emergency, yes, but the president will have to seek two-thirds majority of the National Assembly to confirm the operationality of the state of emergency. So we wait and see what the National Assembly will do to confirm the complete operationalization of this state of emergency. But my fear is that the crisis in Rivers State is almost like an ethnic crisis between the Ijaw and the other ethnic groups in the Rivers State. The Ijaw people are feeling isolated, alienated by some of the actions of the predecessor of Simila Efubara, who is the current Minister of FCT, Nyesom Wike. So we pray that this could not boomerang into crisis. We pray that so many of the citizens of that area will not say they will want to resist this particular state of emergency. However, it is important that all of us keep calm and wait for the system to play out, and that people in the Delta need to a little bit calm down and look through the law. If you don't feel like the state of emergency is done on equitable terms, then you pass through the mechanisms of the law and try to challenge it. But the situation whereby you try to take the laws into your hand is going to be morang into a lot of crisis. Remember, we have a lot of crisis already in the north, where especially the northwest and the northeast and the north central. We also have crisis in the southeast. If we now allow south, which is the economic backbone of Nigeria, more particularly Rivers State, where nearly
the men with
of
the
the
power
oil
don't
that
want
bring
to get
forests
there.
to Nigeria,
We need crisis.
get into crisis, then the whole
I don't know why they
is going
tell
to
people
experience a
Niger
very
Delta
serious
what to
economic
do or how to
downturn
do their thing.
to the tune that is unimaginable. So therefore,
That's what we are
it is
working
not
for.
a good thing
Not
now
the
that we
pray
should
again.
take one side or the other,
We are
but to
working to
try
make
to
sure
seek
that the
conciliation.
crisis
People like us are
happens
asking
so
for
that
the suspension of the minister of the FCT, because he is also part of the instigators. That will bring about some semblance of balance and justice, but the two culprits are now paying the price for instigating a crisis that led to the declaration of state of emergency in that particular state. So maybe if Wike2 is suspended, you have Simila Efubara, as suspended, then maybe there could be some balance and some people will not feel like they are shortchanged. But we, the ordinary citizens, need to pick calm. Let us not instigate the crisis, let us not take side, and let us manage the situation very carefully so that there can be no nasty and negative reaction. Our military are already overstretched. Almost all over the country, you have military operations. There are over 30 places where military is deployed in Nigeria. This is not a good pointer. If we extend it, instigating a crisis in the Niger Delta, where a hard-earned amnesty was gotten in 2009 by the late President Umaru Musa.
We are tired of living on amnesty now. Amnesty now we will live on forever. Our charity and children will live on amnesty.
Especially with the current global challenges, where every major global actor is looking forward to exploiting an already tense situation to continue to exploit. Don't forget, Niger Delta is the region that produces all the oil that Nigeria consumes, right? And this is the oil also that we sell to generate the money to run the economy. And this is also the envy of so many global actors, because it will give them opportunity to easily come and steal this oil through the back door when crisis is going. Because there are crisis entrepreneurs that will be ready to cash out. So we need to be extremely careful so that we don't push Nigeria into flames. May God continue to bless us, keep peace among us, and continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
I never knows if God don't stop to bless us. There's nothing like that anymore. God don't bless you now. I only now call all the blessing. I only now God give all the blessing. The country, where the country scatter. I've said it before in January. Was it in January when Bola Tinubu was declared a winner? I said the country is due for renegotiation. And since the men in power they are not, no one hear word, something got to go. Anyways, welcome, 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 welcome. Let's dissect what has unfolded. Because at this point, it has come to stay. It has come to state new. Fubara is on sabbatical leave. Let him go and study wine. Fubara need to go and study wine. You need to know the kind of wine wicked drinks. 40 years old for the start. That's what they said him to at this point. And I think this is a power play, as I said yesterday. This is well, I think at this point it has come to everybody realization that Bola Tinubu is right. Is on the right. He hasn't gone contrary to the constitution, but people are just having issue with how quick he applied that side of the constitution. But again, I will say I don't know those people where they knock Tinubu on following the constitution too early. That because they understand the power, what is at play, right? I said it yesterday. Campaign don't start 2027 like in full force. This one will be saying they hide again. This right there as usher us, ladies and gentlemen, Nigeria, wherever you fuck you are at this point, welcome to 2027. Maybe I'll do a separate show for that. So yes, politically, of course, the opposition will disagree with him, and this set the tones. Now, before I continue to go back to history, as far back as 1961, when this emergency in the power was put in place, of course, it has undergone renovation. It has undergone amendments. 2018 was the. But before we even before we go there, let me take us through a preamble first before we go into what the Constitution said at first from 1961 and what it says during after the amendment of 2018 and why Tinubu acts swiftly, why people are going back and forth that the Constitution no support and Constitution do this. It's a question of why, when, and how. So that's three in one. So the Constitution it says give the reason when and why. Why the amendment of the Power Act of 2008 now give the details of how. So I think that's first of all now the first three things one need to understand because all the argument, all the grammar that we everybody would speak for TV, it all beckon around these three. When, why, and how. But before I give you that, so I mean, I'm gonna like share and do the needful before I verse. Anyway, so in February 1st, actually. And if you want to know more, if you want to read more about uh, the bill that was passed in February, but the Senate passed at its preliminary section on Thursday, 1st February 2018, right? They passed the Emergency Power Act that repealed and enact another the old bill. Now, make I give you let me even teach it. Let me turn it to a class. Let me turn it to a class. I think it will be better. Let's go back to Emergency Powers Act of 1961. So let's put a historical context to it. So that's when the spinners and political jobbers begin to twist everybody's head. You will know where they are headed. So let's go to the emergency power. More, I also I remember say more. I remember saying in 1960 they give us they give us independence and give us because they have always said it. And if you no get power, anything you get now give you. And if they give you, it doesn't matter the act of benevolence or however they give you, there's a motive behind it. Right? What they tell you, what they show you, and what you cannot see. Right? So that we cannot see is what is important. That's where the power lies. So in 1960, they give us independent, independencio. Then 1961, the act was put in place, and no, don't forget 1962. Wait, oh, and that 1961 says nine. No, now 1962, nine USAID comes to play. Now, don't judge me. Don't say, oh, you want start conspiracy again. Or how does how USAID take factor into this? No, 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 not at all. It is no factor into this. But since now class with the let's put it, let's put let's refresh our memory with all these laws where we get them from in the first place, right? Because then I thought they doing on. I don't know if anybody is following me very well for here. They tell them that in 2028, no surprise, Trump is not just going to run, he go win. Anyway, to the Constitution. So, 1960, right? 1960 Emergency Power Act of 1961 is a law that grants the President of Nigeria the authority to declare a state of emergency under specific conditions and implement extraordinary measure to address crisis. Now, under extreme measure, but let's since na grammar would they speak, we will understand what it means. Who be this? Who be this one where they say oh, you stop smoking? Mama say na wish they no wish. Makoko, Lagos. Makoko, eh? So carry book, and start jotting down what I'm trying to teach you now. So in 1960 the Act 1961, the law granted the President of Nigeria the authority to declare a state of emergency under specific condition and implement extraordinary measure to address crisis enacted during Nigerian early years of independence. Okay, I'm literally reading this from the Senate archive. It was designated to provide a legal framework for emerging situations that threaten public order, safety, or national security. Now, some people that would disagree with what Bola Tinubu did are arguing based on these three things. Those that understand, those that support Bola Tinubu, those that disagree with Bola Tinubu, and those that actually understand what the Constitution says. So there are three sides to this conversation. Just like what I've always believed to be a coin. There are not two sides to a coin, there are three sides to a coin. There's the head, the tail, and the edge. So here, the arguments, the conversation, the permutation, whatever side you want to see this, what is going on in, is centered around three things, right? Public disorder, safety, and national security. Those that disagree with Tinubu are are making their argument on the ground of the threat in public, a threat on public order is not enough for him to pull that trigger. They are also talking about safety. That so far the people of Rivers State are safe, so you know reach that level to pull that stunt. Yes, Bola Tinubu did not did that based on public disorder and safety necessary, but the third argument, which is national security. And I've always said it here. If they follow me, where they always talk say when you hear that word, when that word is coming from government, it doesn't matter whether America or Nigeria, national security. There are so many fronts to look at it. And I use in the Kano case an example. No, I think I said it on Dr. Damage's shows. That in this case, when they say national security, there are so many fronts that you can look at it from. The economic parts to it, right? Which is what because now money now they build defense. Somebody should tap to Niger. To get military might, your economy has to be up to par, right? That's why the America of today, I say, China and threat. Let's face them because economically they have matched them with energy, and automatically the military they are there up too. So when they say national security, in our own case, Bola Tinubu case, now oil is our number one national security guarantee with now oil we all live on oil unfortunately. Everybody the rich, the poor, the powerful, and even the makoko lagos you sef na you are on the grace of oil. It doesn't matter where you live sef, that's why you are Nigerian. So that is the number one cushion for national security. Anyone that come close to that oil that the central government feel that you are not supposed to close, they will declare you as a national security threat immediately. So when the first pipeline go off, now who did it, why they did it, that's a different conversation. But it did go off. So that is a national security threat automatically. So that's if you listen to the order that the man read out, the broadcast. That's what it centers on, right? So not necessarily public disorder, threatening people's safety, but national security. It always win at all time. If you listen to the Trump administration, listen to the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. The reason we are going for Greenland, Panama, whatever decision they are taking is based on national security. All the people whether they kick out of the country say, I'm trying to national security. You once you they temper with money, it doesn't matter if the money because you are national security. Someone like that, right? That's the whole point. They are going after someone like Inamdi and the rest of them because the economy of that place is taking hit, and it's not one or two big boys at the top is feeling it. So for that reason, something got to be done. Anyway, Mark Oko, you say Ovie, you do not know about Mark Oko Lagos. Now the largest slum on top of water in Africa in the world. It's expensive. All right, make I tell you my Lagos, I tell you my street credibility. I mean, a Lagos credibility, right? So you are where you are describing, eh? Lagos na island and mainland. So in other words, they between mainland and mainland. On the one side, if you cross you enter mainland. The other side. Now, if you are talking of Make I even give you, might even know, might tell you say I know where you dey. Unilag. You know say on a good day say Unilag sef na part of our the slum e dey. That's something you should go find out. I don't think you know about that. So that's to tell you say I be Lagos boy. Omo Ekonemi from Awori to Igbeju Lekki. I know everywhere. So I don't know why one they call am the largest slum in Africa. Well, anything that come out from Nigeria is always, if not the largest, it's the biggest. Now, so I hope I think I did I try to give to explain why how the story of the emergency power started in 1961. So under which that act had to be enacted, just like what Tinubu did yesterday. So as I said, the argument that you are going to be hearing from every platform, every TV, every newspaper, whatever, is going to be centered around three things, right? Public disorder, safety, and national security. So because the emergency, the what is it called? Lagos thing. every 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 make I know say na every big cities, most or some of the wealthiest cities in the fucking planet Earth stand. New York, shout out to Dr. Dameji. He lives in New York. I love me say so he can agree with me on that one. Like New York stand. Uh Okay, let me not even say big city sef. Let me not say big city because what's her name? Rayere was complaining about. Not everywhere in Lagos stinks. The poor neighborhood in Lagos stinks. Let's be specific here, right? If you go places, no man no call name, make I no enter trouble. But if you go to if you dey stay far, I don't know where she lives, right? I don't know where she lives. If you dey live for Orile Igomu, Mile 12, Mile 2, Okokomeku, Ajangbadi, Igbelerin, uh, 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 I guarantee around places, some places in Aja, Igbeju Lekki go don dey smell by now because the rate at which people are chipping there, I know that go happen. Then some hood, some hood in Festac town. So now some places, just like if you come to America, right? You go, not tell anybody, not tell anybody. You go America, 99% of the South, anywhere they call South, it doesn't matter if you go any city, they call it. They say this place na South, that place na North. I guarantee you, 99% of that place, that's South. Half of our things. I don't care what, well, maybe the northern states. You go all those South Dakota, North Dakota, Belize, Montana, you know, you won't get that part of that. But as soon as you don't, they come down from Minnesota to Nebraska to New York, Washington State, down to New York, to Dallas, to Phoenix, to Texas, da 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 da. So now population, now human being, now the congen, now way they stick. Anyway, see now, let me get back to come. Who be you, sir, for Mokoko? Why they even give you time like this? Must be very special. Anyway, let me go back to the class. Tinubu's there. So, as I said, the argument is going to be centered around public threat, public disorder. If it's just enough public disorder for it to pull up the national emergency, or public or safety, is the public not is the danger or the safetyness of the people of Rivers State is alarming enough to pull that trigger. That is the argument that is against him. But the argument that he is for him, which is he is standing on this world national security threat. And I've described what national security threat means. Most of the time, it is because you touch where the money they come from. Money is always the power and money are husband and wife. You understand? Husband and wife, power and money, not be husband and wife. So anywhere power, there's money. Anywhere there's money, power is going to also be right there at the corner. So that's what it. That's what. So that's why they declare that thing. So it's standing on the fact that busting the pipelines that give us our money to build for our security, our lifestyle, and everything. I mean, that's what the president is saying. It's a no go area. It's a no, 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 no. Okay, I give you an assignment. Tell us one city that stinks in China. That's a good. You. That's a good point. I don't want. I don't want. I never go China before, right? But I've uh, I've been with Chinese for X amount of years. If I want to deduct from that experience and maybe one or two hints I get from books, I will. No, and if I mention name, I feel, you go feel they laugh me. I don't know their names like that, but I think, Gwangju, Abi, that's where that's cause I was actually making a business move in that same part of the country in terms of when I was developing a sneaker line, shoe line that year. Now Gwangju, now w- uh, I can't tell you how if it stink that bad or I don't know, but you cannot tell me there's no that any no city in China that there is no people who are living below poverty line. So that's where the debt is coming from. So anywhere you find people who are living below the poverty line, you're about to find a place that stinks. So make I know that's assignment we be say man, if you don't get the answer from me for forever unless something curiosity take me to that route. You get one book where they try read, but the book right now is only in Chinese. It's only in Chinese. So I am praying and eagerly waiting that one of before I die they will translate them to to English. So maybe when I get to that part, or when I get started to read by the dynasty of then maybe I will, if I still remember this your assignment, I will. But other than that, scum. If na Tinubu, if na obedient and articulated and Ponkoseya, then send you. Tell them say I know they here. Na robot they talk. Let me concentrate on what I in my class today. Okay. So now that we have got a little bit of how the journey of power of emergency start, why it should be and why it should not, and why people will be arguing for and against, and why for me I know it's going to stand. It's going to stand because, and I think as far as I'm concerned, this is the winning streak for Bola Tinubu. Yesterday I was thinking that it's going to affect him to the point that 2027 might be in question. I don't think so. The opposition have to put another stunt again. Remember, I started the series 2 days ago. Strategic timing, where the opposition will capitalize on unnecessary stinking Lagos, and all of a sudden they ignore the real issue that Ereye was trying to point out, which is the uselessness of the NYC as an institution. But no, now Lagos is still now the opposition. I don't know the way with. So they will sit try and capitalize on this, but as far as I'm concerned, they were going to lose this debate of Bola Tinubu's act. Yes, you can question it, but he's the man in power. As somebody who criticized good luck for not understanding what power means, I think I will have to give it to Bola Tinubu for staying ahead of the curve. I will have to respect him on this one. He has no choice. You just got to. That's survival of the fitness we did. So I know for time. I will do the same thing if I'm in his position. That's what it exactly means. Maybe if to say good luck get the kind of madness with Tinubu get now, Nigeria would have been in a different trajectory by now. But that's a different conversation entirely, you know. But on this one, Bola Tinubu is a genius. Chose, Ovie, based on what happened, please recall what I said last time that Nigeria is working perfect by its design. Come, who be you now? Who you think say you be sef? Where you go just come, we just say we all bust in my brain, make I just pause everything, make I just begin to remember who Chizio be. Then begin know that kind of conversation. I mean, bro, man, I never cheat myself yet. Don't worry, I'm still waiting. Come back in 10 years' time. Maybe I go down there cheap for my brain that time. This question will you ask, so before I read and finish, I will provide the answer. No? But I ain't there yet. I never get cheap, and I am using a phone, uh, sitting on a beautiful under sunset, talking to you. So I'm not even in a position whereby I can even say, let me tap into AI, ChatGPT, and every other technology we have now to remember who Cheesy O is and the day you hear and the conversation we had. But anyway, you are making a point that I'm not really. I can't even. I don't know where you are going with it. You say, please recall what I said last time that Nigeria is working perfectly by its design. Hmm. Um. Um. I don't. I can't remember what you said, but because I can, there's so many ways to approach what you just said. I can agree with you and disagree with you, but I don't know where you are standing. Yes, if you're thinking about the way the role Obasanjo played and how they want Nigeria to be structured, politically speaking, yes, it's working perfectly well. And why I say Bola Tinubu is a genius for pulling this stunt because this act was actually just amended in 2018, and this is where we are going to go next. Why the why I say Bola Tinubu is a genius. I just gave you the reason why that such law was put in place in the first place in 1961. In case of public safety disturbance or what, an act of insecurity. Now, come forward to 2018. So forward to 24 to February. February. It was actually on Thursday, February 18th. And if you remember why people did not remember why all this kind of law was passed in 2018, all you need to do is just to remember what the year was, politically speaking, in 2018. 2018 was at the heart of campaign of Buhari, the election campaign. So 2018, third party done the assemble. I don't know if I remember. Third party are assembling. So the noise, the conversation, the all the again strategic timing, right? That's when the bill was passed. So we were arguing about how the third force could take on and displace Buhari and Tinubu and what's his name? Atiku. At the end of the day, the likes of the third force, the likes of Ishowore them. And then be the distraction though. Again, oh, they were the distractor at that time. Remember, if you see people that were here yesterday, why I was so animated about Foley yesterday when he was trying to bring Showore into the conversation again. That hey, before you know now, una go dey run, they follow them again. You see why I went just like I just lost it, right? Because in 2018, it was this gang of I don't know what to call them. Now then come together, if you remember, led by Showore, this other guy with Bola Tinubu give appointment, them Ezekwesili them. Those were the distractors. Leba Obasanjo was their chairman. Kino Kwensin. The guy where you get your own think tank now. I don't know they finish where they sponsor that. We'll come to him one day. Morgan Ludem, right? All these Harvard puppets with them groom for Harvard to come and they distract to the youth. They were the one dominated the airwave with their nonsense thought force when this bill was enacted. February 1st, 2018. This is exactly what is happening again today. What is happening again? They are relying. They are realigning, realignment, and they are forming SDP. Like this same thing, this same fucking thing. Since 1960, all these old men they use these tactics, and it's still working. There's no need to change it. If it's working as we speak. 2 days ago, I speak about distraction, the idea of layer, the idea of so many things. All these are distractions, but things are going on in the National Assembly. And again, that's why they always talk about even American politics. It doesn't matter where all these presidential candidates say, they are all clowns, including the president himself, the Elon Musk and the rest of them. Those are all clowns. If you want to know what goes on, focus on what goes on in the Congress. Unanimously, they went to Ukraine. Unanimously, they are in Gaza. You know, nothing. It doesn't matter what Republicans say. It doesn't matter. The American planners never lose focus. Never lose focus. Never. So when you understand that, you understand Nigeria too. Understand what goes on at the National Assembly. Now, so it was a whole bunch of distractions that's actually going on. I went by 2018 when that bill was what reenacted. So on Thursday, February 1st, 2018, so the Senate at its plenary session of on Thursday, 1st, February 2018. Okay, I drink water. I'm getting. The Senate at its plenary session of on Thursday, 1st, February 2018, passed the Emergency Powers Repeal and Reenactment Bill of 2018, SB 182, that's the code, which seeks to repeal the Emergency Power Act of 1961 and enact the Emergency Powers Act 2018 to provide for the declaration of a state of emergency. Now, presenting the report of the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters on the bill, Chairman Senator David Umaru, APC Niger, informed the Senate that the objective of this bill was to provide for an elaborate procedure for the declaration of a state of emergency in Nigeria. General administration of an emergency area which respects to search, arrest without warrant, detention of persons and imposition of curfew, effective control of arm and explosive in emergency area, and payment of compensation and other relief to persons affected by order made by the residents of the area. Now, let me slow down for a minute. Yesterday, everybody they asked, well, a lot of people asked, where is Fubara? Where is Fubara? The guy moved, right? Because some of the changes that the 2018 brought to 1961 are the order for, let me use rivers for as a clear example here. As at when Bola Tinubu make that declaration, right? The security, the member of the security can immediately swing to action. They can start searching people they deem individual as they deem as a national security threat. In this case, the governor himself and those people that were asked to leave. They can start to search them, arrest them without warrant, detain them, and impose curfew without and control anywhere, and that is the police, whatever. This can immediately take effect. That is what was not in the 1961, but was included in during the reenactment of 2018. Another aspect again, if in the course of this action, the citizen of the state, in this case River State, suffer any damages or anything, in the case of the emergency, they are to be what reimbursed, they are to be compensated, they are to be paid, whatever might be the case. These were not in the 1961 Act before, but brought to bear by the reenactment of 2018. Senator Umoru from Niger State mentioned that the committee has received memoranda and conducted a public hearing on the bill in order to avail stakeholders and the general public. And people see the house when they do it. We don't know because our house was fixed on Showore, was fixed on Ezekwesili, was fixed on Donald Duke, was fixed on kí ló ń pe ọmọ Igbo yìí sìn? Mogalu and ọmọ Yorùbá yìí that guy wey dey form say in a leadership builder. They give her an appointment recently. So those were the conversation that dominated the airwave. Those two people thought first that when all these things were going on, we don't know. Anyway, so the committee consists of the Federal Ministry of Justice, the Nigerian Law Commission, the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Navy, the Nigerian Air Force, Department of State Service, National Human Rights Commission, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution, Policy and Legal Advocacy Center, among others. Those are the people who were. So that pretty much carry everybody along. So nobody saying kangaroo bill na dey pass. So following the submission from the stakeholder at the public hearing, the committee observed that one, Makoko, hope you are ready to write down. One, the Emergency Power Act of 1961 had become obsolete and could no longer address emergency security situation in the country. We could not forget that time too. These were enacted. These are at the heart of what Nnamdi Kanu ordeal. The secessionist noise was loud at that time. So you can imagine, you can just conclude what informed Buhari to go that route. If I remember clearly, a couple of weeks ago, there was this conversation on Dr. Damages about when Buhari coined the phrase, the phrase, I will use the phrase of dot in a cycle. And everybody will begin go, he said this, he didn't say that, what do you mean, that. So if you remember, this was at that point too. So if you are wondering why they had to readjust the 1961 bill, so tell me thank you. Tell me thank you. I just give you an hint. I don't give you three things where one, the distraction that was going place, which is the third force, right? And the reason that inspires it. Bam. Now, two, the passage of the new bill will address the security challenge that had risen in the country as a result of security threats. Now, listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. An agitation in some parts of the country. Are you hearing me? We are enter. Once once I get my conspiracy theory right like this, so I'm always hyped, and once I'm hyped, that means the spirits are high. I'll go into my pastorals. Because last we will see enter the kingdom of preaching. If you are with me, say ha ha ha. So the first, the start, the second, now the first thing, I mean, from the observation from the committee after going through the enactment of the bill, one they said the Emergency Power Act of 1961 had become obsolete and could not could no longer address emergency security situation in the country. Check. Two, the other observation they made is that the passage of the new bill would address the security challenge that had arisen in the country as a result of what insecurity threat and agitation in some part of the country. Agitation in the southeast, insecurity threat in the what? Northeast. Three, the enactment of the act is necessary for the preservation of public peace and safety of citizens in the affected area. Now, this is where those that are saying Bola no try, this is where they are, this is where their point is coming from. Because one can make an argument that the people of Rivers State are at peace, reasonably peaceful, and the safety is not to that point that they are being threatened yet. But again, and four, the number four observation was that various stakeholders are unanimously supported the passage of the bill. So it doesn't matter if their observation is alarming, is threatening, is dictatorial, is whatever grammar you can just add to it. No matter, the majority will say have their way, and the minority can keep making fucking noise. So now again, Senator David Omar of Niger, who is the architect behind this beautiful, beautiful big bill, according to the Trump administration. They will say, we want one beautiful, beautiful bill. What's one beautiful bill in the Senate? One big, beautiful bill. Hey, life, life, no really balance. Anyway, in his concluding remark, he stated that the bill would further confer on the National Assembly the power to decide whether the proclamation of the state of emergency by the president should remain in force or not after the president has presented before the National Assembly facts and circumstances leading to the declaration. So again, those who are saying the National Assembly have to act first before the president, no. The president will act first, they will now approach the National Assembly with facts and figures why it take that action. It is not left for the National Assembly to decide to say, yes, sir, those are indeed national security threats, you are good to go. And he has 48 hours, he has 2 days to make his submission if the Senate is in session, as in this case. But if they are not, if they are on vacation in either Hajj in Saudi Arabia or Israel or Vegas, some they go Vegas too. That place have now only land. Well, I'm sorry, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Yes. So if that is the situation, the president have then 2 weeks to present it or call an emergency sitting within 5 days. So as we speak, Bola Tinubu is still within his rights of what he did. So let's give him 48 hours. And again, if he hasn't, if he refused to approach the National Assembly with the facts and figures that led to his decision within 10 days, then that declaration is going to be null and void. So, ladies and gentlemen, just to give you now a bit of history why we are where we are now. Now, Marco Cool Lagos says Nigerian works according to Yoruba design. Onga, Togri, Lagos State House, and now River State House. You don't forget one. Oh. There's what they call Kanu State House. Don't forget that one. That one never finish, oh. So it's not just Rivers and Lagos, even Kanu. So you now understand why I said Bola Tinubu is a genius. There's no way he can lose. He can have three problems going in these three states going to election unless you are not a student of history. That's how APC came to power. That's how good loss was push and out. That's how Obaseki remained in power. Then turned the whole story around. I don't know the Lagos. It worked the first time. So if they allow Fubara see the dragging leg, they go like that without coming to his senses. His senses means according to what the power want, Bola Tinubu and his guys want. If they see they are draw like reach to election period, they will lose to the Fubara group because they go that's land. Rivers no be Lagos, Abuja. It will be so loud because guess what? Tinubu de Abuja, Wike de Abuja. But I guess that song can still be sung too, but I don't know if it's going to if people are going to gyrate to it. Because that which be Wiki's song, Imba Eneba that works. But no no rivers no be Abuja go work. So kudos to Tinubu for saving his political career, for 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 scoring a win towards the 2027 because if this stays, the opposition has to find another way to start confusion because at this point nobody care about your ass. You ordinary citizen. Nobody cares about your ass. The window of caring about your ass is gone. The opportunity you have to hold Bola Tinubu by his boss and get something done is gone. Now it's all about 20 what? 31. Oh, did I say 2031? Yeah. Because 2027 too is freaking gone. Tinubu don't win am. So the focus now will be how do we stop the Obi presidential ambition going beyond 2027? Now, when I say we, I'm talking about the power that be because they say na turn by turn. So, in order for the North to have a very smooth and not an easy competition going 2031, APC will get northern person, PDP will get another candidate, SDP will get another candidate. Then good luck to any other person that is going to come from anywhere. Am I speaking to somebody? But if you still disagree with all my Dogotoranti, you say it's about 2027 now. Let's face it. If you say Tinubu no go win 2027, who will win? Let me light my spliff while I wait for that answer. Hello, Dabi Reo. Hello, Dabi Reo. Kinu gbogbo alágbára ayé. Ta ló dàbí rẹ Olúwa? Oh my. Yesu yeche nine hanya, nine gaskiya nine rai, ba mai zuwa gunu ba, sai ta wurina. Bola Tinubu just said something that the Hausa people love to say. Nine duwa wudole aizomadimu. What it means is that I am the Butos. Now maybe Nyash, you must sit down with me. So you can only sit down with Nyash. So, so that is what the North, that's the power game they are playing. Because now power, Nigeria has been in regional competition for from day one. In fact, before the country was formed based on regional competition, not based on unity. So I don't understand why we they fight. We are wondering why the unity cannot be achieved in every sector. The only place there's unity, there's unity at the top to eat our common words. That's it. So it is a struggle Buhari talk am point blank. This is a race struggle, superior race. That's what is going on. So anybody will believe that the North are actually working to unseat Tinubu 2027 has missed the point. Not that it will not happen, but the question is at what cost? If you weigh the cost that will make that happen, and you weigh the cost will that 4 years of waiting 4 years will cost you will take the 4 years. Because if they not get power in 2031, a state of an Islamic state will be declared. That one is sure. I'm not. It's not a bad thing. A country need to have a focus. We don't get focus as we did so. We don't have focus. That's why the Biafrans wants to leave. So if the Islamic State now will give us focus, welcome. But it's going to be a battle between those other guys. You would know other guys. We will see. It don't start already. Oh. It don't start. I don't know where anybody. Oh, I want to talk about the call between Putin and Donald Trump, right? So people will see the say the word. He go. It never change. Give up 5 years, you will see the practical calendar. So the only people who have their sights in tomorrow, when I mean tomorrow, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, are the guys behind the Islamic State. I don't live for I don't live for Qatar for 3 years. It's one of the most peaceful place on earth, most advanced. So I know what it is. Those who prepare now they will always win. That's what this game is about. In order for that to happen, you have to take what you have to do what control the political structure of the states of the country. And if you are still wondering why they are going STB is going to be very strong, by the time we finish 2027 election, the dominance of the Islamic State power will be so visible and obvious within both the lower house and upper house that it's not the question of is good Nigeria is going to be an Islamic state. It's now going to be matter of when, what date, and that date will be when determine who win 2031. So it make more sense for the North to focus on dominating the House come 2027. Because to get the executive, that one would be easy. Come 2031, it's going to be a platter of gold. So they will dominate the House. It doesn't matter. You know, go see one party dominate the way APC to dominate it as it is now. You're either going to see APC get few people say for House. SDP, PDP will dominate the House. Now it depends on it depends. It now depends on Obi. There's a big factor in all this conversation. There's a big factor. If they don't succeed in finishing Obi presidential ambition by 2027, either they give him tickets in the major party and he lost, and that hence the idea of party turn by turn presidential rotation, or he goes solo and still lose the presidency, but produce the same number or produce the same position. Then we have a different conversation going 2020 to 2031. Because then that the Islamic State framework will be now so obvious that the whole South and the whole money back in the South will not have choice than to come behind Obi because he already has numbers. Then it will not be against whoever the North is going to produce. That's where the conversation is, right? But I don't know what you could determine the result. Shana go to court, Kabina I don't know that one, but you know what I mean. So interesting time ahead. Interesting fucking time. Not just not just in Nigeria, as I said. You just have to listen to the conversation that is coming out of Washington D.C. Trump is going for 2023, 2028. So even I think say people go get on our time at that time because 2027 the campaign for America go the conversation. Come on, go not start, not already start. The agenda Trump will run 2028 has already started. I talk am before. Oh God. Anyway, we will go back. We will have that conversation in earnest. The world is in a very, very, very sweet spot. Sweet spot. Europe are in a very going forward. Europe now only two objectives go dey their plan. They generate money from tourism and they invested in what? In military hardware. That's it. Because industrialization, everything is gone. So they will capitalize on their tourism, and put the money to build their military weapon defense because their nyash don't open now when America have a bigger focus. Right? So at every junction, America is going all out. That's the only way it can survive. So they no get time. No time. So whatever that you guys will be having going on is going to be local. For the very first time, our power, those that have the upper say deciding power in Nigeria will be wholly heavily on the local power holders, right? Whatever Nigerians decide, going forward, they no worry for now. By the time they settle, they go face us, right? Because what America is fighting on is trying to stop China not just being world hegemony. I don't think they want this place there. No, for being a regional hegemony. They don't want to cross. As we speak, economically speaking, the South Asia is the most important region in the fucking planet, economically speaking. So they don't want China to be the hegemony and dominate that region. The way they dominate the Western atmosphere, then that would be a problem on the long run. So that's where this whole fight is about. So by the time they finish that, they know nobody will fit dominate Europe. No one single country can dominate Europe. Not Germany, not Britain, not France, definitely Russia. They will come together. So that is not a threat to America for today. The South and North American continent, there's nobody has that is that you can say within the next 20 years will be a regional hegemony. Brazil is a candidate, but they are far, 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 far away, right? If you now look at the Middle East, for sure, then that's why not Iran is getting it right now. Gonna then be the next backbones we go collect. So they are the only one that stand a chance. But rather, it will not happen. Israel, of course, that was the goal from day one, but they are still far from being the to control that region. So you will now go back to the Southeast Asia, go back to the whole Asia as a whole, right? Indians are rising up, but for you to be dominate that region, you have to beat China first. So you see where China are far far closer to being that to control that region, and that's where the American focus is on. It did their plan. Nobody saying a new thing. As I said on Dr. Damini show, you have to understand what happened in the early 1800s. The fifth president of America, the 25th president, right? And the people who are thinking that Trump will not run again in 2028 should think again. You have to go back to the days of you have to go back to 1932 again, the days of Roosevelt, right? So 4 times people not a lot of people know that, and it was because of the direction that the country was going, who eventually ended up going to civil war. He came at the pretty much the tail end of the to bring America out of the Great Depression, which a lot of people are. are thinking that Trump is going to lead us to, which lead them to the conclusion that Trump is leading the downfall of the empire. People forget that's exactly what they said about the 25th president, William McKenzie. That's exactly what they said because instead na tariff president. That's exactly what they said. Of course, it led the country to great depressions of the 20s. But as soon as they come out of the Great Depression, what happened? They faced the world, Second World War, boom. So that allowed the FDR to keep going for another terms. God forbid, if I want to be a Nigerian for now, I think that's where we are getting to. We are there. We are there. Historians will argue that more people were killed in Ukraine than the invasions of the Soviet Union in Poland that led to Second World War. So anyway, ask me, say, what does it got to do with the constitutional that the national emergency that Bola Tinubu just a lot. I just dey tell you, I just dey let you to understand that there is chaos everywhere. The world is take a different shape. Houthi are disturbing the trade out already, which is what if you read Peter Zen's book, the beginning of the world, the end of the world is the end is the beginning of the world. I think. Make me go my library again. Remember that title, Peter Zen. Yes, the end of the world is just the beginning. If you read that, you understand exactly where we are right now in terms of the maritime movement, in terms of why Greenland comes into play, why Panama has to be colonized, why Houthi is doing whatever they're doing, the Black Sea and Red Sea and all that. You know, you understand all that. Everything has been detailed. Not really happen now, where they never document out, right? If you also then if you want to understand the economy policy that will eventually lead to the kinetic war, if eventually that is going to happen with China, you have to go read the strategy of denial by Enrich Colby. Strategy of denial by Enrich Colby. Enrich Colby, na grandson of is my William Colby, former CIA director. So those are the people you need to know the direction of America they go, not the stunts. The way America, the way people say, "Oh, America, they are making a mistake." No, 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 no. Yeah, William Egan Colby, the former CIA director. So his grandson is pretty much the strategic intelligence behind the curtain of national defense of Trump administration. So Andrew Colby is a national security policy professional who served as a deputy assistant secretary of defense of strategy for force development in 2017 to 18 during the first Trump administration. He played a key role in the development of 2008 U.S. national defense strategy, which, among other things, shifted the U.S. Defense Department focus to China. So, strategy of denial. You understand why America had to go sit down with Putin and trying to come back to the strategic alliance that they used to have, which helped them coming out victorious during the Second World War. Because people will not forget, the Soviet Union lost pretty much almost 6 million or more soldiers to that Second War that actually helped in weakening Germany before they could come in. So they are trying to go back to that strategic relationship so that they can weaken their Russian relationship with China and have time to put China to where they think they belong. Now, is this going to play out exactly how I'm saying it, or how they want it, or how they write it down? That's the question for tomorrow. Again, I'm taking that detour just to say that we should pay attention to the underlying signals of what is happening. Because yesterday I said that pay attention to the response of the likes of Atiku, be Showore and the others. They will turn on towards a campaign slogan. They will capitalize on the sympathy, the anger, the fear, and to drive their own narrative towards their own agenda of 2027. So they will all complain. They will all send their surrogates to come on TV to spin it. We all go make but the 6 months has come to stay, unfortunately. Again, everybody pay attention to what these people do. They are not stupid. So a lot of people are saying that those people, anybody those who advise Tinubu to take direction made a great mistake. Of course, that's what they want us to hear. Okay, what is the cause of the mistake? He will lose it. He will not get re-elected. That's it, though. So that means the consequences stays. So you see the logic behind that. Oh, Bola Tinubu was ill advised. Oh, Bola Tinubu what he did was that. Da. Okay, what is the solution? This is going to cost him a second term. Really? That's it. So you now understand it's all in the play. It's the power na negotiation. They don't negotiate everything, so they have just come and start. But again, it's like a pyramid though. Those who they work at the base, they seriously and religiously do what they are doing. Because now they no reach. So the higher up you go, the more the more you know. The lower down you go, the lesser you know. I think that is pretty much the rule of life, Abi. Oh, plus I don't try for this morning. I've been up for this early afternoon.
Shed more light on the president's position on the declaration of state of emergency in some states. I'm now being joined on the news by the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Dr. Reuben Abati. Well, thank you for joining us today. Now, some lawyers say Section 305 of the 1999 Constitution was silent on the details of what the president can do. What is the rationale behind leaving the governors in office?
Well, what people must note is that what the president has done is lawful and constitutional. There is no part of the Constitution that gives the president of Nigeria the powers to remove a state governor or political office holders, particularly under the circumstances of the declaration of emergency. And the relevant sections of the Constitution to consider will include sections 1 and 2 of the Constitution, section 11, subsection 4, where it is expressly stated that not even the National Assembly can remove a state governor. If you look also at section 217, what it says is that when under these circumstances, the armed forces are deployed to put down an insurrection or to check the breakdown of law and order, those armed forces, security forces, are expected to act in aid of the civilian authorities. And then the other relevant sections will be sections 180, section 188, and section 189, dealing with the tenure of office of a governor and then circumstances under which a governor can be removed. It's also important to note that under section 305, subsection 4 thereof, indeed a state governor can also make representation to a state house of assembly asking for the proclamation of a state of emergency. And where a state governor fails to do so, then, the president can intervene and act as President Jonathan has acted. So it's a constitution, that has guided the president, and to the extent that the constitution is the ground norm, and we're, committed to the rule of law, anything to the contrary will have been unlawful and will have been unconstitutional.
All right, we also have some analysts who think that, well, the issue that necessitated the declaration of emergency was also noticed in some other states up north, and they wonder, why were some states who have witnessed this skirmish left out?
Sorry, I didn't quite get that. It's not so clear.
Some states that have also witnessed some of this security challenge have been left out. We have people wondering, why were those other states left out?
Well, you notice that the president made it clear that after his return from South Africa, there were consultations, there were security briefings. It is true that, in the opening paragraph of the address by the president, he identified many other states that have been affected. But in this particular case, Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa, those are the areas where we have the most serious threat to the sovereignty of the Nigerian state. The issue is about the assault on Nigeria's territorial integrity. What we're facing in these places where state of emergency has been declared is not just a question of people fighting an ideological war. They are trying to create an enclave out of Nigeria. There has been an attempt to create a state out of the Nigerian state. And, in some of these places, the terrorists have even hoisted their own flags. Now, what, President Jonathan made clear is that nobody, under any circumstances whatsoever, will be allowed, to divide Nigeria. And that is very clear under Section 2 of the Constitution. The indissolubility and the indivisibility of Nigeria. In some of the other states, the level of threat has not yet reached that stage. What the president did yesterday is to send out a very strong signal that whoever attempts to violate the integrity of the Nigerian state, will be met, with, considerable action. So it's the president saying enough is enough. Government will not tolerate any attempt, to violate the sovereignty of Nigeria. That was very clear in his address.
All right, then tell us then, what is the current situation with getting the National Assembly to approve this?
Well, Section 305 of the Constitution, again, is very clear about this. Where the National Assembly is sitting, is in session, it is required within 2 days, to endorse through a resolution, 2/3 majority of each of the houses in the National Assembly. If it is not in session, then within 10 days. But the situation we have now is that, the National Assembly is in session, and, the Gazette, I believe, already has been forwarded or will be forwarded today to the National Assembly, and then the National Assembly will act, accordingly. Already, of course, you note that the National Assembly, particularly the Senate, has already spoken in support of the action that has been taken. And also other members of the National Assembly of both houses have, praised the executive arm of government, the president, for acting as he has done. There is a meeting of minds between the executive and the legislature in this matter as to the need to ensure, to protect the territorial integrity of Nigeria and to ensure that there is no breakdown of law and order, in any part of the country, and that no anarchist, or terrorist or insurgent is allowed to overwhelm the state authority.
All right, and thank you for speaking with us today.
Thank you, Barry.
Now, this was 2014, 2013, 2014 when Guru was in the power. So, as I've earlier clarified, the Constitution, that part of the Constitution was reenacted in 2018. So that was 2014, 2013, I guess. So because yesterday we actually played that, and a lot of people are running away with that now. Based on that.
Fellow Nigerians, I feel greatly disturbed at the tone we have come to regarding the political crisis in Rivers State. Like many of you, I have watched with concern the development, with hope that the parties involved will allow good sense to prevail at the soonest. But all that hope borne out without any solution to the crisis. With the crisis persisting, there's no way democratic governance, which we all fought and worked for over the years, can thrive in a way that will redound to the benefit of the good people of the state. The state has been at a standstill since the crisis started, with the good people of the state not being able to have access to the dividend of democracy. Also, it is public knowledge that the governor of Rivers State, for unjustifiable reasons, demolished the House of Assembly of the state as far back as 13th December 2023, and as up till now, 14 months after, now rebuilt the same. I have made personal interventions between the contending parties for a peaceful resolution of this crisis, but my efforts have been largely ignored by the parties to the crisis. I'm also aware that many well-meaning Nigerians, leaders of thought, and patriotic groups have also intervened at various times with the best of intentions to resolve the matter, but all their efforts were also to no avail. Still, I thank them. On February 28, 2025, the Supreme Court, in a judgment in respect to all about 8 consolidated appeals concerning the political crisis in Rivers State, based on several grave unconstitutional acts and the disregard of the rule of law that has been committed by the governor of Rivers State, as shown by the evidence before it, pronounced in very clear terms. And I quote, "A government cannot be said to exist without one of the 3 arms that make up of the government of a state under the 1999 Constitution as amended. In this case, the head of the executive arm of the government, has chosen to collapse the legislature to enable him to govern without the legislature as a despot. As it is, there is no government in Rivers State, and I quote. The above pronouncement came after a catalogue of judicial findings of constitutional breaches against Governor Siminalayi Fubara. Going forward in their judgment, and having found and held that 27 members of the House who had allegedly deflected, and I quote, are still valid members of Rivers State House of Assembly and cannot be prevented from participating in proceedings of that House by the 8th respondent, that is the governor, in cohort with 4 members, and unquote. The Supreme Court then made some orders to restore the state to immediate constitutional democracy. These orders include the immediate passing of an appropriation bill by the Rivers State House of Assembly, which up to now has not been facilitated. Some militants had threatened fire and brimstone against their perceived enemies of the governor, who has up to now not disowned them. Apart from that, both the House and the governor have not been able to work together. Both of them do not realize that they are in office to work together for the peace and good governance of the state. The latest security report made available to me show that between yesterday and today, there have been disturbing incidents of vandalization of pipelines by some militants without governor taking any action to curtail them. I have, of course, given stand order to the security agencies to ensure safety of lives of good people of Rivers State and the oil pipelines. With all this and many more, no good and responsible president will stand by and allow the grave situation to continue without taking remedial steps prescribed by the Constitution to address the situation in the state, which no doubt requires extraordinary measures to restore good governance, peace, order, and security. In these circumstances, having soberly reflected on and evaluated the political situation in Rivers State, and the governor and deputy governor of Rivers State, having failed to make a request to me as president to issue this proclamation as required by Section 305, Paragraph 5 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, it has become inevitably compelling for me to invoke the provision of the Section 305 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, to declare a state of emergency in Rivers State with effect from today, 18th March, year 2025, and I so do. By this declaration, the governor of Rivers State, Mr. Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy, Mrs. Ngozi Odu, and all elected members of the House of Assembly State are hereby suspended for an initial period of 6 months. In the meantime, I hereby nominate Vice Admiral Advocate Ibas, retired, as administrator to take charge of the affairs of the state in the interest of the good people of Rivers State. For the avoidance of doubt, this declaration does not affect the judicial arm of Rivers State, which shall continue to function in accordance with their constitutional mandate. The administrator will not make any new laws. He will, however, be free to formulate regulations and may be found necessary to do his job, but such regulations will need to be considered and approved by the Federal Executive Council and promoted by the President for the state. This declaration has been published in the Federal Gazette, a copy of which has been forwarded to the National Assembly in accordance with the Constitution. It is my fervent hope that this inevitable intervention will help to restore peace and order in Rivers State by awakening all the contenders to the constitutional imperatives, binding on all political players in the Rivers State in particular and Nigeria as a whole. Long live a united, peaceful, secured, and democratic Rivers State in particular, and the Federal Republic of Nigeria as a whole. God bless you all for listening. Thank you.
This evening, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has passed a state of emergency on Rivers State. The state of emergency orders the suspension of the governor of Rivers State, Simila Fubara, the National Assembly, and then appointed a former naval officer, a vice admiral, a retired vice admiral, to be a sole administrator to govern Rivers State. Remember that there has been a crisis between the governor of Rivers State and his predecessor, Nyesom Wike, about the control of the politics and the structures and the governance system of Rivers State. It has passed through different legal challenges, breaking laws from both the two sides, and a lot of confusion, where you now have the State High Court giving contrary judgments with the Federal High Court, and now we now have a Supreme Court judgment coming to override all the judgment, and a lot of back and forth, right? So the president have constitutional powers to grant a state of emergency, yes, but the president will have to seek two-thirds majority of the National Assembly to confirm the operationality of the state of emergency. So we wait and see what the National Assembly will do to confirm the complete operationalization of this state of emergency. But my fear is that the crisis in Rivers State is almost like an ethnic crisis between the Ijaw and the other ethnic groups in Rivers State. The Ijaw people are feeling isolated, alienated by some of the actions of the predecessor of Simila Fubara, who is the current Minister of FCT, Nyesom Wike. So we pray that this could not boomerang into crisis. We pray that so many of the citizens of that area will not say they will want to resist this particular state of emergency. However, it is important that all of us keep calm and wait for the system to play out, and that people in the Delta need to a little bit calm down and look through the law. If you don't feel like the state of emergency is done on equitable terms, then you pass through the mechanisms of the law and try to challenge it. But the situation whereby you try to take the laws into your hand is going to be morang into a lot of crisis. Remember, we have a lot of crisis already in the north, especially the northwest and the northeast and the north central. We also have crisis in the southeast. If we now allow south, which is the economic backbone of Nigeria, more particularly Rivers State, where nearly 45% of the oil that brings forex to Nigeria, get into crisis, then the whole country is going to experience a very serious economic downturn to the tune that is unimaginable. So therefore, it is not a good thing now that we should take one side or the other, but to try to seek conciliation. People like us are asking for the suspension of the minister of the FCT, because he is also part of the instigators. That will bring about some semblance of balance and justice, but the two culprits are now paying the price for instigating a crisis that led to the declaration of state of emergency in that particular state. So maybe if Wike 2 is suspended, you have Simila Fubara, as suspended, then maybe there could be some balance and some people will not feel like they are shortchanged. But we, the ordinary citizens, need to pick calm. Let us not instigate the crisis, let us not take side, and let us manage the situation very carefully so that there can be no nasty and negative reaction. Our military are already overstretched. Almost all over the country, you have military operations. There are over 30 places where military is deployed in Nigeria. This is not a good pointer. If we extend it, instigating a crisis in the Niger Delta where a hard-earned amnesty was gotten in 2009 by the late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, if we allow crisis to come over there, then it's going to be a very bad deal for Nigeria, especially with the current global challenges where every major global actor is looking forward to exploiting an already tense situation to continue to exploit. Don't forget, Niger Delta is the region that produces all the oil that Nigeria consumes, right? And this is the oil also that we sell to generate the money to run the economy. And this is also the envy of so many global actors because it will give them opportunity to easily come and steal this oil through the back door when crisis is going, because there are crisis entrepreneurs that will be ready to cash out. So we need to be extremely careful so that we don't push Nigeria into flames. May God continue to bless us, keep peace among us, and continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Mark,
the impression it creates is very, very wrong, in my opinion. And I think the president should have been more presidential. Whoever wrote that speech did not do the president any favors at all. Because the impression is the person that usually wins has won again. You know, so.
But
ah, damn. Sorry, I don't. I did answer your question. I don't know. Sorry, I did muted. Um,
this event that you did. More, no, both, I give you thanks for all you do. Thanks. The guy is a genius. Oh. Tinubu is a genius for what he did, right? Now, politically speaking, he's not out of place. He went. Now that's what I've been. That's what I've been talking about since I started. What he did was right within his constitutional rights. Right, he has the right to suspend the Rivers governor in this case because he deemed them as a national security threat. Why? Because our national security guarantee our food, where our source of national security guarantee is coming from, has been put on fire. When they bust the pipeline, that's a no-go area for the state. So he used that because the constitution allowed him to do that when there's a case of the national security threat, safety of the citizen and all this whatever. But he capitalized on national security and pull that up. So he have 2 days, he have 24 hours to report to the National Assembly his findings, his reason why he did what he did. So it now depends on the National Assembly to say, okay, yes, the reason that you are giving, if your facts that you present before us, you are right. They will just he has 24 hours to do that, or he has 7 days to do that. Now, why I said it's a genius because in a political move, it needs to be in control of that state. Now, you can argue at what cost. That's not our business. That's above our pay grade. That's entirely, right? But what he saw that come. The governor is not falling in line enough as much as he wants. And the way the governor is going, if they drag the case like that on the public opinion to election period, the governor will win. Because it's the easy way to rally around the people of Rivers State that Rivers no be Abuja. And he go work. So Tinubu, Tinubu no be anyhow. Tinubu saw that. They don't do me like that before for Benin. That are no dey power. Now they power now. They mad. Take him out and teach him a lesson. So that's to tell you, if to say now Tinubu dey power when Obaseki they vote that in, he would have found a way to do it. And this is also a message to opposition governors. If you don't want to fall in line, you will collect. Now, it is the constitution that will do that. I will do the same thing. Because if to say good luck get this kind of opportunity, maybe we will not different for the talk. So the video that I played on about making case for good luck, why good luck did not do it in time, because the enactment was not has not taken place yet. So in a power game, you see anybody talk about the Rivers people? Rivers people, anybody talk about them now, they are not fighting because of Rivers. So now Godfather and Godson they fight. Now they know the agreement. We don't know what they agreed on. So my own actually look. I'm just hungry for people who say, oh, they should not burn, oh, if you burn. Like that's what we want. Like make the country scatter so that the war we stand a chance to rewrite history again. When I did they talk about the country, everybody is looking for where they chop from. Anyway, I get it. But I don't want to hear that kind of shit at all. I want them to keep fighting. Make the whole escravos catch fire. May escravos catch fire. May everybody else straight for the country. I agree on the part you said it's over about 2027. And as far as I'm concerned, Bola Tinubu is winning. Since they no go feel overturn the suspension, that means he stands, he won. So the opposition will look for another thing to do again to take advantage to see where they will win. Let you know what. Let's listen to. Thank you, Niger man. Let's listen to. Oh, never upload for himself. I think the Attorney General Federation is making. I give you the detail why nobody worried this. I'm uploading the video. I'll play it in a minute. So they can noise now. Noise will just a year now. Now it invest me be that. For the next couple of days to 1 week, story and grammar, constitution this, constitution that. Oh, now people can argue on this. You can come from the angle of safety that people have not. The state is still safe. Fine, you're right. You can argue of, but you cannot argue for what the president term as a national threat. You know, go give Bob what did they give us money to buy to prepare for national security. You will say no, no, come to you. So when to Nigeria, they shout everywhere saying that Moku build our defense. No be money they build defense. Where our money they come from? No be oil. So anything that come to oil, any unauthorized anybody with a team unauthorized come close to any oil to be national security threat. Anybody that bring chaos to anywhere money when they stop to the get money, it's they would declare them as national security threats. So that's what Bola Tinubu is doing. I mean, now you can argue, say, okay, that is too vague, it's too vague, whatever. Well, go argue with the Constitution. It's unfortunate, but it's what it is. It is what it fucking is. Esiyeche nine gaskiya nine rai ba mi zuwa ba sai ta wurina. Esiyeche nine hanya nine gaskiya nine rai ba mi zuwa ba sai ta wurina. Yesterday I dey shit on on show. Now YouTube say no, I no go fit monetize that video of yesterday. Well, not because of waiting I talk, but the video where I play show what every wait a fucking minute. Wait a fucking minute. Did I play that video for a second? Yeah, I played that video where she what they with Reye. Fortunately, somebody has monetized that one already. They strike it down for me. So because my attempt to expose the 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 manipulation behind the moves of those in power, especially the opposition, and they pay for so. So the opposition don't have any plan. They don't have anything because all of them are all American chihuahuas. All the policy they have is in line with the IMF, uh, the the power that be. So for that reason, their job is just to propagandize any small thing that will prey on the people's emotion, that will drive people in perpetual fear because fear is the most expensive product you can find that the elite use. So what the opposition parties are doing, the likes of Obi, Atiku, and Showore are master at this. They find the low-hanging fruit in the society and trigger it and merchandise it for their own benefit. Don't forget, It's a popularity contest. How far can you drill into people's emotion, people's empathy, and people's fear? As was the order of the day. So they are using that to drive traffic away from to make the government in power unpopular. I mean, I'm not saying this because I support Tinubu. I'm just telling you this is how it's done. Tinubu is a master at this. Tinubu is a master at that. That's what he does. That's why he was able to go this far. So let's listen to what the Attorney General is saying first.
The questions are more or less related, but let me start on the note of how we got to where we are today. How did it all start? That is about the genesis. We all know how we got here. Since 2023, I think towards the end of 2023, things have not been going on well, to the extent that the governor took the law into his hands and demolished, brought down the House of Assembly. Don't forget the role of the House of Assembly. They are the lawmakers. They are to consider budget. They are to, pass budget. They are also to be approached in matters of appointment of commissioners for ratification and all other things. They are to do oversight functions. So since that happened, things have not been the same at all. In a community of 32, you expect that at least 15 or 16 will be there to do the job. The governor, like I said, and it is no longer news, about 3 or 4 of the members constituted them to into the House of Assembly and gave them preferential treatment, moved them to the government house to be performing legislative functions. This situation got to the court. There were about 10, 15, 16 cases. And at the end of the day, the Supreme Court came out and made very profound findings of breaches of the Constitution, mainly against the governor. You see, you rise or fall on the basis of what you took to court and what the decision of the court is on it. The court came to the decision that the governor had long anticipated that he might be impeached. And because of that, he knew that the House of Assembly was a critical structure organ to do that. Brought down the House of Assembly. 14 months after, that is as at yesterday, it was 14 months, there was no effort to rebuild the House of Assembly. The government stands on a tripod: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Made the functioning of government impossible. It is not enough for the executive to say we are spending money. Even the money you want to spend must have been appropriated for by the House of Assembly. These are some of the findings not made. And at the end of the day, the Supreme Court said or came to a decision that the behavior of the governor was like a despot, and that as situation was, there was no government in Rivers. If there was no government in Rivers, what else are we looking for? I'm so sorry for bringing in this issue. In the Bible, they asked Jesus Christ, "Are you the Son of God?" And he said, "Yes." Then others chorused, "What further evidence do we need from this man?" So the stage is set. But no action was taken immediately in the expectation or hope that good sense will prevail, the governor will create an enabling environment, and that the House of Assembly too would be reasonable enough to ensure that the people of Rivers actually got a return for their voting of both members of the House of Assembly and the governor and other elected officials to enjoy dividends of democracy. we are in a democracy. So, no, then there were what I would call telegraphing of the militants, I would say by the governor. And the reason I said so was when he beckoned to them that, oh, he would let them know when it was time to act, to the militants. Let us say it was wrong. Did he come out to disown them? The answer is no. And a week after they swung into action, you see or witness vandalization of oil pipelines. Don't also forget that before now, that is when this government came into office, Nigeria was producing about 900,000 liters of oil a day. With the efforts and all the ingenuity that the president had, he ensured that the production rose to about 1.5 barrel per day. That's about 45 of something increase. Governors were smiling home at the end of the month with about 60% increase in their take-home to their various governors. Then somebody rose or encouraged or became inactive when he was supposed to act. There was not a word dissuading the threat, the militants who issued this threat. In today's Nigeria, maybe with the efforts of the Mr. President, a Greek will come in the questions are more or less related, but let me start on the note of how we got to where we are today. How did it all start? That is about the genesis. We all know how we got here. Since 2023, I think towards the end of 2023, things have not been going on well, to the extent that the governor took the law into his hands and demolished, brought down the House of Assembly. Don't forget the role of the House of Assembly. They are the lawmakers. They are to consider budget. They are to, pass budget. They are also to be approached in matters of appointment of commissioners for ratification and all other things. They are to do oversight functions. So since that happened, things have not been the same at all. In a community of 32, you expect that at least 15 or 16 will be there to do the job. The governor, like I said, and it is no longer news, about 3 or 4 of the members constituted them to the House of Assembly and gave them preferential treatment, moved them to the government house to be doing performing legislative functions. This situation got to the court. There were about 10, 15, 16 cases. And at the end of the day, the Supreme Court came out and made very profound findings of breaches of the Constitution, mainly against the governor. You see, you rise or fall on the basis of what you took to court and what the decision of the court is on it. The court came to the decision that the governor had long anticipated that he might be impeached. And because of that, he knew that the House of Assembly was a critical structure organ to do that. Brought down the House of Assembly. 14 months after, that is as at yesterday, it was 14 months, there was no effort to rebuild the House of Assembly. The government stands on a tripod. The executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, made the functioning of government impossible. It is not enough for the executive to say we are spending money. Even the money you want to spend must have been appropriated for by the House of Assembly. These are some of the findings that were made. And at the end of the day, the Supreme Court said or came to a decision that the behavior of the governor was like a despot, and that as situation was, there was no government in Rivers. If there was no government in Rivers, what else are we looking for? I'm so sorry for bringing in this issue. In the Bible, they asked Jesus Christ, "Are you the Son of God?" And he said, "Yes." Then others chorused, "What further evidence do we need from this man?" So the stage is set, but no action was taken immediately in the expectation or hope that good sense will prevail, the governor will create an enabling environment, and that the House of Assembly too would be reasonable enough to ensure that the people of Rivers actually got a return for their voting of both members of the House of Assembly and the governor and other elected officials to enjoy dividends of democracy. We are in a democracy. So, then there were what I will call telegraphing of the militants, I would say by the governor. And the reason I said so was when he beckoned to them that, he would let them know when it was time to act, to the militants. Let us say it was wrong. Did he come out to disown them? The answer is no. And a week after they swung into action, you see or witness vandalization of oil pipelines. Don't also forget that before now, that is when this government came into office, Nigeria was producing about 900,000 liters of oil a day. With the efforts and all the ingenuity that the president had, he ensured that the production rose to about 1.5 barrel per day. That's about 45 of something increase. Governors were smiling home at the end of the month with about 60% increase in their take-home to their various governors. Then somebody rose or encouraged or became inactive when he was supposed to act. There was not a word dissuading the threat, the militants who issued this threat. In today's Nigeria, maybe with the efforts of the Mr. President, a Greek will come in is anchored on the decision of the court, Supreme Court at that. The second one is the inability of those involved, both the House of Assembly and the governor, from being able to, create an enabling environment for the people of Rivers to enjoy the dividends of democracy. Then the third series is about the security situation in that place. If he had waited maybe a day longer, only God knows what would have followed. And as a result of that, he came out to say, I am not only the head of state, I'm commander-in-chief of the armed forces, declared a state of emergency. The first question is hasty decision. When should he, I will ask rather rhetorically, when do you think should have come? When everything has collapsed? No. The law envisages that you come in when there is present imminent danger to the security of lives and property. People were killing themselves. It's no longer news. It's not a question of making up the story. We all read papers every day. Those who live there are living in fears. So there is certainly the need to come in. We're about 2 years into the administration of in the state. If he didn't come in now, when do you think he should come in? Is it when everything has been destroyed? I don't think so. I think the president has acted. He has given opportunity to all the people involved, the parties involved, to make amends. Before then, he had assembled them. He had tried to mediate. Some said he had no constitutional power after agreeing. And what they agreed to at the meeting were not implemented. So, to answer your question, I don't think that the president, or no, let me say, it's not a question of I don't think. I am certain that the president has acted timeously after giving them enough rope. And as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, it was a tough decision for him to make. It doesn't present anybody with joy to disrupt the flow of democracy or practice of it. But the Constitution itself envisages that there may be this type of situation. And that was why it is provided in Section 305 of the Constitution that extraordinary situations might arise. This is one of such extraordinary situations. The second one is about, removing the governor, removing the deputy governor. You see, you decide each case on its own peculiar facts and circumstances. Who are the people involved? Who are the parties involved in this saga? They are the governor, members of the House of Assembly. So who else should have been affected? I've heard this funny argument. I'm sorry for saying it is funny because it doesn't make any sense to me. That the president should have just gone there to secure the pipelines and then come back, when some people are there encouraging vandals to come in. The action of the president is what happened is the effect of a fundamental cause, and you cannot be treating the cause, the effect, in order to cure the cause. What was the cause? The governor and members of the House of Assembly. So you don't try to, you have to behave responsibly, and you must have the guts. If it happens again, I will encourage Mr. President to do the same, maybe this time with even greater vigor and vitality. So the question of separating or treating or giving preferential treatment to anybody does not arise. You give preferential treatment to anybody, you are giving preferential treatment to hooliganism. Just call a spade a spade. This is where I believe that we should put up our patriotism cap. It shouldn't be about individual. It should not be about anybody. It should be about the entity called Nigeria. But in this case, the River State. So it is River State's turn today. It can be anybody's turn tomorrow. Let the signal be clearly signed for those who want to make the practice of democracy and enjoyment of dividend of democracy a mirage, to think twice. So I answer the question by saying I return a resounding no to the quest that the governor and deputy should have, or the members of the House of Assembly. They were all in it. So then the other one is about compromise and replacement. It appears so. Don't forget, I think yesterday there was a notice of impeachment from the House of Assembly. If that impeachment had been allowed to take its full course, then the governor would have lost entirely and completely. So in a way, if you say it's a compromise, I will agree that instead of allowing the impeachment process to continue and which in the end would have seen both the governor and the deputy governor out of office and been out for the entirety of the 4-year term, with the remainder of what we have. We have 1 year, I think about 9 months, leaving is it a balance of 2 years and 3? Thank you.
Oh my fucking God. My bad. And more than overs. I don't know. So all this one now, let me talk to myself. Chineke me. I don't know. Say I'm on mute. Sorry. Maddy Peace. Are you be correct guy? Every other person. They don't know. Say I dey talk to myself. Thank you. Thank you. So where do I start from? I said a lot of shit. Where do I start from? Should I start from Mark? Where I go start from? Middle Peace. A whole story they talk so. EFCC has arrested Bauchi accountant. Yes, so I say politics don't start. No, Obi tell una say anybody we associate with them, they always give up. They always collect. Even I no gree believe them. What they call am? Bauchi governor Bala Mohammed, the front Obi una dey. Now they come after us. So accountant general wasn't it the same position Fubara was occupying during under Wiki? German, you are welcome. Jagagban is becoming too desperate. This one only by desperation. This is how you stay in power. This is how you secure your power. Now competition. Come, maybe not because they are the athlete. Now it make me see things the way they shot. Now competition. We don't enter that zone. We be saying, man, friends. There's nothing like friend emotion. No, 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 no. This is the goal ahead, man. So the guy is not desperate. I wish Goodluck was this desperate during his time. Maybe things would have been different. Maybe for no lose. The desperation of Buhari make them reenact the bill. That emergency act came into our constitution in 1961. Now they first started. So, but they reenacted. They had to improve on it in 2018. When una they busy, they shout for una they root for Showore. Guys, this is in February 2018. That was when the third force was taking shape. Showore, Ezekwesili, Mogalu, what's be the other Yoruba guy name? 9 day when I high that time. Now, what make me invest for fully yesterday with this? Take all this una nonsense thing come on for here. So the whole country was aghast with Showore coming to the game and all that. Now they reenact the bill. That's why people know about that. But the motivation behind that bill at that time, 2018, was because the voice for separatists was becoming loud, and insecurity days every other place too. So that's why they do them. That's why they reenact it. Man, I stopped talking after the video. God damn. I was talking since then. As since then, I don't talk. Now because I don't know. Once the video it's supposed that's why I don't like iPhone. Anytime I use iPhone, it's always like that. So if to send my Samsung, once the video play finish, automatically. So once they play the video, it will mute everybody, mute me inclusive. But once the video finish, automatically the mic will turn on. But iPhone, I have to manually press the audio when the video finish. I think that's why.
My advice to all of us is that when we were in FCT with Malam, I remember when he was leaving, 2007, he gathered all of us, just like we're talking to each other right now. Unfortunately, few months after, things changed completely. Some people that we thought they were our friends conspire to make sure that they send him out of the government, not only the government, out of the country, through blackmail, witch hunt, and persecution. Unfortunately, they were almost succeeding because they have to conspire with the people that were working with us at that time, our so-called friends. Those that Marlon single-handedly got them appointed, not in FCT, but even within the presidency. So that is why sometimes I'm not always excited when I happen to find myself, because Marlon destiny, I kept telling him, he's someone that has a very complicated destiny, helping everyone, but sometimes people abandon him. And that is the reason why most times I keep telling them, whenever I find myself addressing the public, I keep telling them, look, please, we have to understand that Malay is someone, I've never sat with him for a day since I've met him, trying to, looking for a way to buy a house or to buy a car or to do something for himself or his family, but doing for every other person. So that's why the other day I was telling he is generous to everyone, but not to himself. And I always pray, and I want all of us to pray, that all of us that have worked with Malay and benefit from him, we should remain faithful to him, remain loyal to him, and we should always strive to protect him because we know the truth. We know who he is. Nobody can tell his story except those that work with him. That is my advice. Lastly, I can say that I'm a very lucky person because
Last day we go short market down, Najama. We'll come back later. Since last I don't overstay my wake up. I make me know say I dey talk to myself. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll go. I think there's a breaking news. Natasha is in the process of being recalled. So that's something for us to talk about. I'll go chop. Let me go eat. Then we'll be back. Until then, ladies and gentlemen. Wait, Dre, what are you saying? When Asari Tokubo war starts now, so noise making. Na me happy pass for waiting the apple. Asari Tokubo, una dey other. See, say Tinubu no dey stupid now. Tinubu, what? Tinubu, all those guys are on Tinubu payroll. Tinubu no be mumu. Know what they do. You know who go fit make trouble for them. You know who no go fit make trouble. So those wey go fit make trouble, there's many ways to take care of. Dre, I go chop. We'll talk later. I'll come back later. Ciao, ciao.